So the key is not really to be socially, better, but rather talk to people where if you made mistakes, they wouldn't care because you like the same pens that they do,
Mm.
right? That's the key. You want to be really thoughtful. And I'm happy to share my playbook. For me, at the point of my life, even if I'm pretty young like you are, I'm very
Mhm.
picky about the people I interact with. Like I only talk to purpose-driven, positive people who are working on important shit. If you don't meet these criteria, I won't talk to you. Right? It's
Right.
just I'm very picky because if I'm picking between that and somebody who just doesn't want to do anything, then
Mhm.
I'll just pick the positive person. I only go to events to meet those people. So yeah.
Right. That's interesting because personally, I would say I'm a lot better at this now today, but I used to be and still is kind of I am very much an introverted kind of person, and I do get very shy or not shy, but I get very quiet in social contexts. Um, but this is obviously something that I want to work on, and I'm working on, and I'm improving on. Um, uh, but it's one of those things that you can only improve on from or through experience, and you have to put yourself through different situations where um, you have to go through what you don't actually want to go through. That's the only way you can be better. And so coming from that perspective, me being used to be a lot more of a shy person to now loving to talk to people like you and people I've never even seen before. Um, how I want to know, because you seem to be a very outgoing individual and you obviously know a lot about communication and interaction. But have you always been like that, or is it something that, like me, has evolved through time?
Right. So I'll be honest when I say I've always been an extrovert. It's just something that I like to do. I
Really?
love people. Right. When it came to public speaking, that wasn't true. Like I hated public speaking my whole life up until, university. So I sucked at it. When it came to social skills though, I always liked talking to people. I wasn't this amazing social butterfly or anything, but I just always liked conversation. But I think what helped me at a young age was I would talk to people I actually wanted to talk to. I wouldn't push my effort to like go, okay, there's 50 people at this event. I need to talk to all 50 of them, unless it was business related. But that was like maybe what less than 5% of the cases.
But
Most of the time, look, I'll give you the golden playbook, Jonathan. Today,
mhm.
this is golden rule of relationships. Find one person that you love and have them introduce you to their tribe. That's it. So when COVID hit and I couldn't go to events anymore, instead of just whining and crying in my basement, I just went up to the 5 most important people in my life, my 5 favorite people, and I just said, "Who's the most interesting person that you know?" And I'll introduce you to the most interesting people I know. Every single time that introduction was made, gold. Every single time.
Mm.
Right? So it's just there's always a way to network with people, even if you're an introvert.
Right.
Just ask the people. Just be a bit creative, right?
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Would you say, because networking is, especially in business, is a huge benefit if you're able to do it and do it right, of course. Because when you speak about networking, I personally think about people, and I speak about this a lot, but I have a feeling that a lot of people aren't reaching their full potential in what they can do because of one single reason, and that reason being that they're afraid or they're shy or they don't want to be put in a situation where they have never been before. And to me, that's such it's a sad thing, and it's a shame that it happens because there's so many individuals with so much great potential, so many great ideas, but they don't become reality simply because they don't want to or don't dare to. And me being a person that I love putting myself through or challenging myself really, and going through things that I don't really feel comfortable doing. Because when I first started this podcast, I was a nervous mess. The
I
very
was
first thing.
too. Don't worry.
Yeah, and that's completely normal, right? And but with time, I've become more confident and comfortable. Like, and currently, I feel more like there's an actual conversation going, and that's so I've seen a lot of growth personally. But why why don't people realize their full potential? And or maybe they do, but why don't they just go that extra step that will put them through these great things?
You ask really big questions. I love it.
Yeah.
I think this is a personal reason. Like the thing that I recommend as a habit to people that nobody talks about on shows, by the way,
Mhm.
is ask yourself one hard question every day about life. Forget the yoga, forget the meditation, forget eating avocados every day. If you spend every day, 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, asking one hard question, in 30 days, your life will be different. I'll give you an examples.
Mhm.
Some of them. What are you pretending not to know? If you had all the money in the world, how would you spend your time? And if you died tomorrow, what would you want your funeral speech to say about you? These are questions that are super useful that most people aren't willing to answer. That's why the fear gets in the way. I started Master Talk when I was 22, and I started coaching senior level executives at the age of 23, but I'm only a few years older than you. How does that make any sense?
Yeah.
That's the point. Where did I get the confidence from? I got the confidence in two areas. One is preparation. Yeah, sure, I was young, but I presented, a lot of times, a lot more than people who are much older than me.
Mm.
But the second thing that's very important for people to know is this idea that I had a belief system, a point of view on how the world should be. I thought it was crazy that the most important skill in the world wasn't being taught for free in a high quality way on YouTube. I was like, this is crazy. It makes no sense. It wasn't really about making money. It was just like, hey, this person who's 16 and is really smart thinks that they can't master public speaking. I think that's ridiculous, right? So I just started making videos in my basement, and I knew I needed money to make the videos better. So I needed to take on executive clients. So I said, it wasn't really about the fact that I wasn't scared. Of course I was scared, but it was more saying the fear loses to the message. If the fear loses to the message is just more important. The fear, you'll win, right? That's how it works. And that same analogy can be applied to life. I think what made me, I guess, relatively successful
Mhm.
is not really that I'm more important or, unique or anything. I just asked those hard questions about life at a very young age. Here's another example I can give you. Life trains us to do the following: get married, have 2.5 kids, not 2 kids, 2.5 kids, or else you're failing. You need a white picket fence for some reason. I don't really know why we don't get to choose the color of the fence. And we need to have 2 cars, because if we only have 1 car, it looks kind of stupid. You need like 2 to have like a full parking spot. So, anyways, the point that I'm driving, who made these rules up? And the key is somebody made them up, right?
Mm.
And when you realize that everything is made up after a series of questions that you ask yourself, then you start to make your own rules.